Welcome back. We're here to do the twin flame update. And yes, as the title reads, we are at a crossroad. So we're going to get into the read. I am early today. Why? Probably because we're heading into eclipse energy and we're gearing up for some big shifts, especially in all relationships and connections. There is a potential that we can have some significant shifts happening in those domains. And I wanted to get onto these reads as soon as possible. It's really funny because with the axis of Libra and Aries, both in the spiritual community as well as in all our dynamics, high sway with our relationships, our contracts, our partnerships, it is a South Node eclipse. And, you know, in all areas of life, be it it's our physical bodies, our emotions of the past. I did a mini video, which, like as I mentioned to the members in their super chats this morning inside the membership, I was really looking at that. And, you know, eons ago, I was doing a lot of zodiac signs. And I do use the zodiac signs to guide us through our spiritual path, which in my belief way back when was the best means to understand what was happening to our auras, what was happening in our individual lives. We could be going, look, we're very fixated, we're focused on this direction. But those of you that are more experienced in the twin flame path understand that those areas of life are directly what are going to impact your path. And how can that show up? It could be that your twin is in a cycle, in a karmic cycle, and it could be to do with a career. It could be to do with a romantic partnership. You also could be going through that shift because we do the mirror work. This is a portal, you know, and, you know, certain astrologers, especially those that do readings based around the twin flame path and the collective path, we're discussing the fact that the North Node was a portal for reconciliations between the masculine and the feminine. Yes and no, okay? Yes, because the first way we actually get that is when individuals choose themselves. And when we choose ourselves, say we're in a karmic path, and we are understanding the very 3D circumstances, it physically can be that, you know, they are in a relationship and they have very religious tendencies. They have very, and it tends to happen more so at the huge close of a karmic path, is we very much will be looking at those aspects and going, hey, I feel very guilty about this. This is my expectation. And, you know, I've got tunnel vision. And how do I move that circumstance? So at the moment, because it is a South Node eclipse, we really are going to have these bitter feelings emotionally to do with the past. And that can be resurrection of emotions, injustices, so to speak, imbalances. Definitely a lot of things to do with feminine. We're going to come up with the North Node in Aries. And we've seen that astrologically happen with new laws, Libra, rules associated to fertility, related to so many different areas. And so the conflict with those circumstances are feminines are going through a change. The old way feminines were, we are no longer the same. Tesla mentioned it as well. He really fretted about the fact that feminines in the future, you know, would really not require a masculine to a degree, you know, quote unquote. But it's because we are becoming yin and yang inside of ourselves, both masculine and feminine. It's not that we don't want a partner, that we don't want a connection. We're coming to it with a more accountable dynamic, so to speak. Victim consciousness is very potential at this point, and again, vengeful tendency. So if we have the understanding and comprehension of the spiritual energy of how these things can show up, we're less inclined to go into it in a toxic fashion, and we're going to be more prepared for that. You are going to have a lot of heart chakra activation. There could be things to do with your mother energy coming up in your life. That is a man or a female, a masculine or a feminine, whatever you relate to, whatever you were born into this ether with. So yes, there could be subjects to do with mother energy, breaking karmic cycles, breaking karmic ties, the polarity in the belief systems of what they had in a hand-me-down generational energy can be viewed again, and we may be revisiting those circumstances. The other thing is, as we always experience eclipses prior to the eclipses. That is what I've seen in all astrology. So an eclipse is almost a moon quadrupled. So it's amplified, and the signification of it is going to be quite intense between, you know, the weeks going into it, the weeks going out of it, and then over the next 6 to 12 months, depending on if it's a total or a partial. But generally speaking, you will see things leading to that point. And one of the predictions I actually had in the members, which is already playing out now, Jupiter later in the year does ingress into the house of Gemini. And I said through out of the mouths of babes, you know, and it's going to be singers that are children, and they're going to be very spiritual in nature. It can be messages coming through with children and them speaking their truth and having their awakening and speaking about environment and things to that degree. And I'm already seeing it, even though we have a bit yet before that happens. So that is one example of how these things can be affecting your twin flame path. We also can be apprehensive to make decisions. Your frustration levels, you can go from being extremely optimistic out with the old and with the new, especially when it comes to friendship groups and alliances. The past, now, can we have past tense people come through like a Venus retrograde in your twin flame path? 100%. Is it going to be different? Yes, it will be. Because it is a South Node eclipse. It means when that returns, you have already changed. And so by revisiting that, you will see the reasons why you've changed. More than likely, your approach to your twin flame path is going to be different. Your approach to do with those physical energies within your zodiac also are going to be different. As we reach the eclipse next month, hi, sweet. The other thing is it is a masculine eclipse. Both signs are masculine in nature, although one does relate to Venus. The next eclipse, again, is a huge portal for the masculines to be going through a massive change. We then move into the shadow energy of Mercury retrograde in Aries. And so that's not going to completely sum up. We can be reworking those things. We can be renegotiating the terms. All of us collectively can be creating healthy boundaries, but it can be quite messy. There's been a lot of content online, and I think it's quite interesting because of the axis of, you know, Pisces with Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. There was things on the news the other day to do with Sadhguru being unwell and having surgery on his brain. And again, crown chakra is Pisces, and it was a spiritual energy. It was a spiritual guru. So again, you know, moving into 2025, this also can be the North Node moving into Pisces can be spirituality, psychology, mental entanglement, awakenings, you know, and things to that degree. So this portal is a huge shift. It can signify individuals leaving karmic relationships. It doesn't have to happen within 8 weeks, but the cracks will be showing if the cracks haven't been shown already, and that pressure point can be coming from that axis. Now, I've pulled the Ruin cast. I hope you have a cuppa. I have mine because back to back I've done super chats, and now I'm doing the live. And yes, Libra can be cleaning your house. So if you felt all of a sudden you wanted to get rid of things, your style was changing, this can be your diet as well. More than likely, you are looking at holistic approaches and healthier choices. How can you get the balance? How can you save money? Is it money? Is it nutrition? Is it ways of actually dealing with your stress levels and giving to the people that you love? You're going to feel those pressure points there. My house literally has been going through a friggin' exorcism. And there has been a lot of things that I've been discarding of the past. A lot of things I feel I directly resonate with, and some things I feel I don't. And so don't be surprised if you're doing a huge cleanse of your physical home environment. Feminines also will need to look after their wellness, their heart chakra, their feminine organs. Cycles can be heavier. And really, this can be a time that we're rechecking in with ourselves and considering ourselves. So what is it that we are needing? What is it that we can do to make our life a bit more balanced, a bit more kind, a bit more fair? But yes, we can also be looking at justice. So like I said, it can come through a little bit vengeful. No shade. We're human beings having a humanistic experience. I'm trying to find the Ruin cast. I'm not leaving you alone. We are going to look at what the symbolism of this means, moving into the eclipse, and how that directly is going to impact you between now and the next eclipse. I did get a psychic download this morning, and it was to do with the 11th hour. And again, locations the eclipse is crossing. I'm going to try and get the post. This is something to do with the past. Okay, so the ruin cast is facing the past, ironically, even though it's probably turned around on the camera, but it is facing the past. Not necessarily, could we call it a reversal? We theoretically could. Okay, so the corresponding energy inside the book, okay, just in case you wanted to get the ruin cast. Deity, Nor, color black, which is psychic protection. Again, the sky will turn black. Element water. So again, a moon energy, an eclipse energy it's a feminine energy. It is intuitive in nature. We could feel something is spiritually hidden from us, but something is going to come to light. Okay. Oh, joy. And yes, look, even from an astrology point of view, this portal is one of the toughest. I'm just going to be straight with you. It can be a shake-up. It can feel, especially with the conjunctions happening to Uranus, it can feel that things are shifting very quickly, very suddenly, unexpectedly. And generally speaking, even from an astrological point of view, if we were to say, hey, let's correlate your energy and your twin flames energy, what is going on in the chart? What is going on in the overall chart of the collective energy? There's always the unknown that can come through. So there's a myriad of ways this can play out. You can look back to potential previous states of where the eclipses were, again, to see, what was happening around that time. Okay. So I'll read the ruin cast. I'm not happy with it already, but, let's go through this all spiritually together. It is one of the most difficult of all the ruins to interpret, as even its mundane meaning is uncertain. It has been translated very vigorously as apple, tree, pear, chessman, dice, cup of fate, game, dance. Since its meaning has remained a mystery or a secret for so long, it seems appropriate to accept it as a ruin of mystery. Every ruin master who progresses along the path of knowledge with the ruin as a guide will find a particular significance. And that's generally the consensus. Have you ever noticed, if you're looking, all of us individually will have an experience maybe with the synchronicity. For me, I honor the fives, the 555s. I acknowledge also the shadow energy of them, which is deep upheaval, tower moments, endings of situations to cause that change. So, in hindsight, you will look back after enduring the fives and realize that those things were destined to happen. They were required to happen. It was almost like you might have put something out there into universe that you wanted X, Y, and Z, but you could not see how that was to happen. And the towers that precede those fives actually caused that to happen for you. So the negative equals a positive, sort of that kind of notion. What else? So generally, we will connect a correlating energy with an experience we have with those vibrations. On a deeper level, and mystical insights are attained. Let us consider the shape of the ruin cast as our starting point as we group towards understanding. And the thing is, when we are looking at the astrology, our ascension path and our twin flame path, we are at the moment looking at Libra facing the past, okay? Something from the past is coming back. We're revisiting it. Now, if we make changes, the outcome is unknown because the outcome is going to be different. But we're wanting that confirmation. But we can't have that confirmation because if we have changed the variables of it, inevitably the variable of the outcome is going to be different, but we will have an attachment to it. No, I want to know. all vessels and symbolism of the feminine principle. So intuition is going to be required, although you may not trust your intuition during the eclipse. I would give it 3 days either side. Okay, on a Monday, mystery, chance, unpredictable events, intimate encounters, esoteric, unfolding, fate, karma. And I definitely said that inside the brief short that I made, with some tips about cord cutting during this time. If we're moving into this chapter with the South Node eclipse in the house of Libra, in the house of a feminine energy, well, technically it's feminine, it's actually masculine, it's a Venus sign, then subjects of the past can be repeating. So how do we end that? We cut that karmic cycle so that the same doesn't have to eventuate through these 2 eclipse cycles. Yes, we individually can do it, especially if we're carrying a cycle that happened within our karmic path, our twin flame path rather. It can be bitterness to do with the karmic, bitterness to do with the years. If we then can name those names of those individuals or picture them, envision them, and we can cut it so we don't have to drag it around like a burden, and we can release it so the universe can do its work on it, it's going to lighten our load. So moving forward is going to be more bearable and more at peace, and what is meant for us can come towards us. But initially, through our egoic experience, we may not want to forgive. We may want to seek revenge, and we wonder how we will relate to those circumstances. That which is hidden will be revealed. Okay, so reversed. Irritational fear, vulnerability, ill fortune, faults and mistakes exposed. We're having a karmic return with the eclipse. Okay, fate is simply a matter of chance in which we play no active part. Hence the association of rolling the dice in a game of chance and fate. But the fact is that every thought and action we stir into the cauldron by our hand is actually brewing fate. So yes, we can actually change that by our vibration. When we draw this through and cast, we will see if we have loaded the dice in our favor, or have we brewed ourselves a bitter drought, as we may find it hard to swallow, in which a hidden will be revealed. On a more esoteric level, it's the initiation into the feminine mysteries and working with Gaia. We are in a privileged position if we spiritually have awoken and we understand and we're listening to our guides. We're in a privileged position. The mysteries of life are not threatening, and in the end, the only thing that dies is fair. So it's about having courage through these times. And, ego tends to control things. Mother Nature naturally has its flow. So go into the feminine mystery. We're going to pull the cards and we're going to see what's coming up. So we could feel as though, is there a chance? Is this going to come back? Is it going to go in our favor? We could be bitter towards those things. Why did I have to endure those cycles? It could have been third-party energies, etc. And so wherever that lands in your life, there is a shadow. We just need to acknowledge what the shadow is and forgive ourselves. And it's okay to have those feelings. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, but to actually release them so you don't have to carry them. So definitely pink quartz. Clearing your home, maybe doing a bath to cleanse. I would add Epsom salts and maybe some rose water. If you have allergies, definitely don't do those. You can put the crystals in the bath. You could potentially use the Epsom salts, but not to use the aromatics, but definitely, always follow your guidance and, follow instructions, so to speak. If you have allergies, don't do it. Use crystals instead. But a guided meditation, I would say tonight, or wherever you are right now. And as we move into the 25th, avoid that. Drink fluid, understand your heart can be healing, open it. You may be protective. You may want to just boot people out and leave us be. Integrate, and as we move in, we can have that openness to do with our future moving forward. Now, the Aries eclipse on the other side, if you are exhibiting aggressive tendencies, I would avoid public spaces just during the weekend, the week out of that eclipse. Go to work, come home, do your thing. Be in self-awareness of your surroundings, because you are the South Node energy as a feminine. and you are moving to the North Node energy as a feminine as well as masculines. Protect your safety, okay? Definitely protect your safety, but you could find that through this, you may very well actually get movement in your twin flame path during this time. Showdowns, cutting out of cycles, cutting out of things that we no longer need, moving into the new chapters of the vibration. So this can be karmic shakeups and definitely, you know, paths that aren't ordained for us as individuals. They can be leaving our life at this point in time to make room for the new. So, did we get a notification? We didn't get a notification this morning in the members, even though I swear I had adequate notifications left, because you're only allowed 3 in 48 hours. You got 5 chasing you. Oh, 5, the number 5 or 5 people? You got 5 people chasing you. You need to do some cord cutting. Could you imagine if you had 5 twin flames? Fuck that. No. No, thank you. I had a beautiful soul friend. We used to have a joke about it, you know, very lightly, tongue in cheek. And it was that, you know, she had 100 twin flames. So it was like, oh, heck, I couldn't even handle one. Friggin' 100? I don't think so. Oh, could you imagine? I wouldn't have made it. I tell you, I wouldn't have. Yeah, I wouldn't have handled it. I would have been like, Jesus, take the wheel, please. Come and get me. Come and retrieve me. Reincarnate in a different way. Thank you very much. Did not pass my test. Please don't send me back for that. I'm good. I'm not that good. Yeah. Okay. So what do we have? Eclipse. Okay. There's a reluctance. Oof. I feel this reluctance. I feel there's a reluctance. I'm staying home. And again, the eclipse Libra is home. So the next eclipse, I would say protect your safety, your security. Be careful of projections. Be careful of bitterness and having empathy for others around you, but keeping your awareness there. The next eclipse, I would not be standing under that eclipse. Look, the ones that would need to be more wary, I would say, would be any hard placements of about 5 to 13 degrees of liberal Aries, Cancer or Leo, right? Again, all of us will have a placement there somewhere. So it's about being mindful. Certain areas are going to have it more so. I'm trying to get the blog post done. That's actually going to show you a projection of where those things are. I mean, they do say it's over Texas quite heavily so. However, it is shadowing half the world. So it's not one location. And I have actually marked it. So you feel there's stagnation. I feel feminine and masculine are feeling in this context that there's stagnation. There has been something that hasn't been let go of. There could also be some paranoia, some, oh my gosh, I can feel something coming from the past. Was there something hidden? This could be physical gossip. In the heart of it, even, and I know this happened to me, it could be almost where you say, look, if I heard X, Y, and Z, that would mean it's over. Especially because we tend to give ourselves spiritual ultimatums. Well, if they were doing X, Y, and Z, that means that would give me the signal. I just wouldn't go any further. I couldn't heal. I couldn't. And, you know, funny enough, you can, and you do. And you don't want to, but you do. So try to not put statements on it. Some of you in your heart chakra can feel, because of this eclipse, brokenhearted, like it's over, it's ended. Both are going to pick up that frequency. Both can be doing shadow work relating to previous connections that can just come about through a trigger point that may not relate to your twin flame, but it can also feel, if you are not psychically picking up on them, you can get a bit paranoid that they're not here. Okay, definitely I can see some frustration. Now, whomever is the one that was in the karmic path or is dealing karmic-y in nature, I feel the individual dealing with that person is frustrated. It's like, have they not learned their lesson? Are we still repeating the cycle? When is this tower going to come about? And I feel it's soon. I feel it's quite soon. I feel by not enabling, it's where that person does actually learn that lesson and we step back where we can control our behavioral patterns so that we're not physically enabling. And I do see a karmic separation happening here, but some of you are wondering, has this ended? Is this over? If you have had word that this person has moved into a separation stage, for some of you, if you have been thinking to yourself, well, why haven't they come towards me? You do not want to be the rebound. You are not the padded cell, the healing ground. You know, it's actually a compliment if they don't come towards you right away. So don't take it personal if they're integrating and taking personal responsibility. There could be some mess that they're spiritually cleaning up. But this person is also, for some of you, could be entering your dream state, trying to give you a message. They also could be really getting to a point where they are going beyond that, like almost realizing this is beyond a normal connection. This is a very deep connection. They could have been in denial about it before. And again, I do see from a karmic path actually closing it out. And this could be for some that are married, you know, a physical separation, a divorce. I'm hearing the term some are wanting to come to your home because they feel grounded by visiting you, grounded by being around you. I feel in the heart of it, there's a critical turning point. This is definitely a turning point. Feminine, you're looking at it like, you know, and I feel it's to do with the Aries eclipse. It's like a shake-up. Something's got to give. Something's got to change. And this can be within the joint connection. Some of you are feeling, again, they keep making reference to the unforgivable. You know, when we do look at unconditional love, and we're healing that wound in a sense of unconditional love. Unconditional love doesn't mean I agree with what you're doing. I still love you, but I don't have to agree with your ethics, your morals, your values. I still love you. You're lovable. You're a human being. So sometimes we get those wires crossed. There could be a protective zone that we're in for some of us. It doesn't mean to say, yeah, it's almost like there's a benchmark here. There's like, okay, I'm not loving this process. I'm not loving the fact that I thought I was less. And, you know, sometimes it's even a revelation we allowed certain things, but I feel it's the context of what this person's been doing. You do know this person very well. Even if you're being saying you do not know this person, you actually do. You just need to get grounded in order to think about your next approach. There is going to be a brand new direction in the heart of hearts. You know there is a new direction coming. You are trying to trust the process. You do feel you've got a lot on your plate. I'm hearing it's almost like when you do look at your own personal plans to do with the future, it almost feels overwhelming. It can feel as though the world's on your shoulder, or to achieve that dream, it feels like very unmanageable at this point, especially if you felt very tired. Sometimes when you do, it's almost like there's going to be something that goes down that you're feeling. And again, I feel this is more intuitive. For some of you, you just keep going back to the standpoint of, is this person going to react the same? You know, does this person have the courage to move forward? Is this option the best option for me? You do know that this person, away from drama, away from ego, is very genuine. They are a kind individual. You've always seen their potential. You are also concerned at times when you are left in this manner, treated in this manner, that doors will open for you. You are aware of this. I feel they're psychically picking up on it. And it's a sad feeling, you know, for some of you. You're sort of like, okay, is this going to usher in a brand new beginning, or is this going to open a new door? Like, what is this going to do? Some of you are feeling, if you do see your divine masculine, there's a weak spot there. It's like, you know, you could go down that rabbit hole. Where is it going to take you? There might be no turning back. Whatever this is, though, I feel like it's going to come in very quickly, and I think it's moving very quickly. I also feel that they're very worried about the fact that you may not want to reconcile with them, or that, this is affecting the spiritual connection between the both of you, and you are less reluctant. You are, you're less inclined to keep it in the status quo. There's something shifting, and this is actually changing their vibration. Over here with the masculine, what I see, I feel they've been aware of how they've been using their power, and they're actually critiquing themselves. Yes, they have had individuals around them that have been quite cruel, but I'm also getting that they're kind of looking at the perspective of how they're being treating you. And there has been some shadow work, and usually that will come through from a psychic point of view, is that if you are sitting there and thinking back down your vault of the memories of what's happened in your life, they do psychically pick up on that. And I'm seeing that they're actually doing the shadow work through that. And there's guilt. There's definite guilt looking at you as an innocent person, not knowing what's going on, getting a lot of crosswires and mixed signals. They did feel as though you were the one when they met you, and they did hide that from you. They also feel at times that they can't hide it from themselves now because it feels very authentic to them. They also feel that at times they can be very stubborn. They also do feel sometimes you can be. Sometimes they have tried to offer an olive leaf, a way forward, and because of the past and because of the wounds that have happened between the both of you, you can be reluctant, and so it's like butting heads. It's hard. How do we get through to each other? How do we get into that medium ground? How do I move beyond the protectiveness so I can get through to you? Some may have moved into hermit mode just all of a sudden. It might feel very, very strange. If you did have the ins and outs, which were regular and here and there, this feels most recent. This feels also for a lot of you, if you are in communication, the communication can come through in a myriad of ways. This can be psychically. It's almost like your heart chakra is connected in with them. What the signal I'm getting is both in the 3D and through the spiritual energy, both of you are going to experience the same. It's almost like you feel this person's hiding something from you. And it's because they're doing shadow work. It's because they're integrating and looking at things. Okay, let me have a realistic look at this. Am I being fair? Am I being kind? What is my new truth that's coming up for me? How can I look at this and deal with this devil in the detail? Even though for a long time it may be that it's been very difficult for them to look at the devil in the detail. It's like, that acceptance, that closure, that ending of it, that seeing a situation for what it really is. Wow. Okay, this has been bringing up some massive extremities in their life. Bad patterns, karmic partners, betrayals in relationships, betrayal in childhood. This can be drinking, using pacifiers. This is a lot of shadow work. They're like, okay, what's in my future? What's in my future moving forward? How do I keep things on an even keel? Is it to do with my overall kind of environment? Is this causing, the issues in my life? What do I need to do in order to alleviate this? How does that then directly impact divine feminine? Okay, what am I directly bringing to the table? I feel this is very much environmental that is causing the emotional. They may have to make a very hard decision. This is causing stress. It's almost like they're just this transit, in my belief, it is the devil in the detail. It's like, okay, I might have been sugarcoating this. This is my role. This is my job. This is where I am. They've been reluctant, overindulgence of dealing with the shit. When we see the hermit, it's good. It's not bad. It's I'm stepping back and I'm gaining some clarity. It's been right under my nose the whole time. How to gain success, what I visually need to see, what my intuition's been telling me, how I've been reacting, what has been the overall thing. Now, when you look at this, I asked about feminine and the outcome, and this is a happy ever after. This is a home, a family. This is being together. Now, does it have to be that you have kids together? Not necessarily. Doesn't have to be. in the overall, what is causing it? Having to be the bad guy. Not making everyone happy. We can't, unfortunately, make everyone happy. We just can't. If we are enabling, this can be, look, well, what happens if someone ends up with my divine feminine? What happens if somebody's like stuffing me around at work? Whatever this is. It does feel like a karmic close. It's gonna what happens is we keep doing this, we keep seeing this, people treating us poorly, dealing with it. Crap goes down. Why? Because, if we're unhappy but everyone else is happy because we're making them happy but we're not, we can't maintain that. Outcome card, and what has to happen is these pressure points are meant to come up for these individuals, and it more than likely for feminines can happen in our working zone, our physical zone, what we're doing with our routine. With a masculine, this is happening in their 3D life. A workplace, a karmic relationship. With you, this could be, again, the physical, the weight that you're carrying, the things you're dealing with emotionally. Both of you are going to go through this wrapping up, readjusting, reawakening to where we had given our power away. And inevitably, this is moving us towards home, which is being your own selves together. How can you be your own individual self, but be together? Because, it's not faking it. There's a transparency. I do feel there's a tower here. I feel they're thinking about you a great deal. I feel the pressure points leading up to this eclipse is what is causing it. I can't wait to see the next edition. It'll be very interesting post-eclipse. Moving into the closer energy of the eclipse in Aries. How do you guys feel is going? How have you been receiving your psychic downloads? You definitely will pick up on it intuitively. If you are away from your ego. If you're in your ego, you could be having more an ether body purge. And so it's going to be the stories, the victim consciousness. And that's not to say you're bad. It's part of an ascension process. What have you been experiencing? Has it been victim consciousness, or has it been, what's the other one? Yeah. How has it showed up for you so far? Because we haven't got to the peak of it yet. For some of us, we could keep coming back to the same situation, like the same outcome. It's like, right, this is what I'm guided to do. The other thing is, for those of you that have had no communication, always double check with your guides. I remember going through a portion of my path, and it was like a grievance happened to me. And was I being self-righteous if I wasn't the one handing the olive leaf out, even though technically I was the angel? Technically, that's a cliche. Sometimes we are an ego when we don't wish to communicate. It doesn't have to be the other person, but it all depends on the context of the situation. Must be feeling me going off in my head for the past 14 years. We are doing good. Her family and new job. We are moving forward. Yeah. We're definitely going to have some shake-ups, Ange, even those in union, because there is going to be some things wrapping up of the past, especially with the Capricorn axis. Pluto moved out of Capricorn into Aquarius, and then it's going to be ingressing back in, which can be we're returning backwards. All of us collectively can feel we're going backwards to wrap up a karmic cycle, to move forward again. Ugh. Yeah, so I've definitely looked at the naturopath side of things, health, nutrition, sleep, good luck, sleep, psychic development again, and intuitive energy, trying to learn at the moment to actually trust our instincts. Because of the Pisces placements, we could have a lot of issues with that at the moment. We could be really struggling to decipher between what we need to do, what direction to go, How are we going to deal with these circumstances? How do we look at it? Shadow work also can come up. So today we have a moon conjuncting Mercury. You know, this could be a left or a right. It could be ultimatums that we give. It could feel that we need to. We could be feeling the emotions and the pressure of having to do that. The nodes are making a quincunx to Lilith, you know, facing our shadow. Jupiter is making a conjunction to Uranus, and the nodes are making a conjunction to Mercury, which is Aries. Oof. Now, what was one of the things that I noticed that was quite interesting, because I believe we have Mercury. Let's have a look at where Mercury is. Okay, Mercury's in Aries. And then we have, where's Venus? Venus is in Pisces. Yeah, sorry. Oh, gosh, Venus in Pisces. Let's put it forward a few days. 25th. I'm looking out for the 8th. But anywhere in between. Some Pisces, Mercury and Aries. Yeah, look, with Mercury and Aries, we can be very cutting with our words. But Mars and Pisces, oh, we had a bunch of those and we talked through it. Yeah. Well, we haven't yet hit eclipses, so definitely there can be some shake-ups with that. So how are you doing, Raven Bird? Are you having fun? I love looking at your updates you send me. I'm like, girl, you are having some fun over there. Who else do we have in the house? Rose, hey Yildiz, love your reads. When the astrology is heavy, you're the person I'll have to hear from. Oh, thanks, sweet. I firmly believed we had Mars and Aquarius. When does it enter Aquarius? Mars, Pisces. I think it's next month. That would make sense. Let's see. Venus. Nope, still in Aries. Oh, that's going to be a long innings with this. Well, it's in its natural domicile. So I could say from a very mundane level, you're going to have more energy coming up, peeps. And we can't complain about that. If you've had no energy and you've been struggling, you know, generally when we ingress into the beginning of the year, we generally are coming through a retrograde and a direct, and then, you know, the new year, theoretically, from the astrological, you know, equinox point of view, we don't really get the new year happening until about March, April. So we're in that portal now of that new beginning, and it's high intensity. If I just stay home, everything will work out. Well, not necessarily, because the eclipse directly links to home, because moon is home, moon is mother. You got kids, right? So the energy could be coming up there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and funny enough, the first eclipse hits your home zone from the Cancer axis. Now, could that be that you look, you could fall pregnant. Be careful. You could have something change with your children. You know, it could be they're there, they're not. It could be you want to restructure your home. You know, redecorate your home. It could be a big bill, a big expense. It could be finishing a project suddenly. If you were working from home, maybe now, you know, if you weren't working from home, it could be you start working from home in a contract. Yeah. You also could sack a contractor. Could you have a reconciliation with a baby daddy? 100%. You could. Been redecorating. Yeah. Oh no, I'm going to the extremes, Leonix. My mother used to say this. She goes, the house is clean, and I was like, no, it's not clean unless you've ripped everything out and re-put it back in. So I have been giving this house an exorcism from the the pantries, to the linen closets, to under the kitchen sink. I mean, I am throwing out, cleaning out, restacking, reorganizing. And I've always found that when it has had that, because we are entering into a new chapter in our lives, it vibrates at the level of how we need it to operate. So, if you're working from home, the way you operate is different. If you're working outside the house, it vibrates different. You need it to be different. So there's something spiritually that's shifted with us at the moment. And we're renegotiating those terms of our living environments. And we definitely can see themes to do with homes and the cost of living. And, where are we going? Jupiter and Gemini, it was ironic. A lot of people have been talking about homes and where they live and what's that going to look like. And it's difficult for homes to be built. Jupiter entering Gemini, my predictive energy is that caravans will become legalized to live in. We're going to see. Yeah, I see a lot of people at the moment selling their RVs, and I don't know why, but, in certain parts of the world, you can only be in them at a certain location for about a month, and then you have to move. So that potentially could be something that changes. Mopping walls and ceilings, you're a dog. I've only ever done that in an exit, and it was a scrubbing brush, and then I would take a towel to it. I would use the broom. I would spray the wall. I would wet the wall first, and I would spray it, and I would sugar soak the walls with the broom, and then towel dry it. Heck, you could use a squeegee for the window. But I'm telling you, they look like they were newly painted. If I just stay home, everything will work out. I'll love you to bits. I love that statement. Let's hide under a rock. Won't stop the world spinning, will it? Any other questions you guys have? Any questions? What zodiacs do we have? Twin Flame Love Potion, how are you doing? How many zodiacs do we have? Virgos and Pisces, you've only got mid-year, and we're going to have an eclipse in your zodiac, and things are going to really be changing next year. If you have felt that you've been very burdened with being responsible, looking at retirement, looking at age, feeling like you have to be responsible for everything, this eclipse could be causing some conflict, right? South Node is moving into Virgo next year, and the North Node is going to be in Pisces. So a lot of what Libra and Aries are going through, you guys will be going through next year. Very transformative, very, very transformative in your life, very changeable. And yes, we do have this year an eclipse in your zodiac. And that's why I said the previous moon before this eclipse in Libra, I said everyone keep an eye on that Virgo Pisces energy in your charts because of the Pisces moon, because it is where the next nodal axis is going to be, and they are going to be some key themes coming up for us at a collective level. Now, twin flame reconciliations. This can be a portal, especially for those of you that have a twin that has not been moving. This can be a time. This also can be a time. It's been a while. Is that an engagement ring? It's a marriage ring, actually. I'm married to my twin now. So, yes, we are married after 25 years of transitions. We got married last year. It was November, I think it was. Yeah. So, yes, all that hard work. It doesn't mean to say we're perfect or that we're fine. We still go through ascension. And, the strangest thing was most of the time Divine Feminine feels they need to lead. When masculines awaken, they're the leaders. And you're like, yes, sir. I'm just telling you, it's very different. You're like, what? Okay. He was like, we're getting married. That's it. And I went, oh, are we? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay, then. All right. Okay. So, Cancer, crab, lamo, hides in my shell. Your shell's evolving, my love. Shell's definitely evolving. So, with Cancer, big changes in the area of home. First, and then crab. Or knowing what your purpose is in love. It's like, am I just a mother? No. Am I just, what is my role? What is my destiny? What am I going to do? You could be getting angry if you're trying to get things done and things don't, come about. So, mission, you also could be absolutely obsessed with career all of a sudden. But there could be a new chapter. This could be receiving a new job. From a love axis, again, you could be thinking to yourself, how am I supposed to meet someone if I'm home? But again, this could be a reconciliation with an individual from the past or a parent figure connected to you. So it could be the baby daddy, i.e. Virgos, where would yours be? I'd just say be really wary during Mercury retrograde because you're a Mercury sign. From your twin flame path axis, what do I have to tell you? Self-esteem, eating, needing to express things. You could have a very deep conversation in the past if you haven't had it already. An asset also, there could be a selling of a property, some money coming through, some old things that need tying up at a financial level. Again, that's not financial advice. 1, 2, 3. And again, it can be a heart-to-heart. Could there be a subject to do with their side, a family member, an unwell family member? 8th house can be, it can be tax, debt, inheritances, death, legacies, can be to do with sex. Usually it also can be hidden resources. So it's shared money, building it up. 8th house isn't bad. 8th house can be very passionate. You could have cross wires. You could be at cross paths and impasse between what you believe versus what they believe. How do we renegotiate those terms? How do both of us get on the same track? You'll probably be able to reach that at the end of the month, and it can be a long-term goal. It can be something you're working towards over the next 6, 8, 12 months. This also could be something to do with the parent figure. Okay. I will love you all and leave you. Be open to big changes. Be ready for shake-ups. I probably wouldn't go out and stand under the Aries eclipse. If you are feeling aggressive, try not to eat the red meat, red foods. Keep away from group energies. People will drive fast on the road at the moment. So the danger factor there with Mercury is there. We're having a lot of accidents we're seeing at the moment. Mars in Aries can be a lot more activity with police, military, frustration and anger. And anything subject to do with, keeping grounded, being careful with extremities, with caffeine, with alcohol, if you do have dispositions to that. Like I said, Cancer and Leo can tend to get a little bit more triggered with that vibration because your intuitive energies, you're linked to the moon and the sun. Just detach from outcomes. Go on a roller coaster. Don't expect to make plans. Don't expect to know how it's going to go. And sum it up at the end of it. But it can be sort of like a feeling of release, a feeling that you need to make a decision and end a cycle or do something different and transform it, and it'll crop up. Crosswise, definitely in frustration, but that Aries eclipse, I probably wouldn't go stand under it. I just wouldn't. Tidy, prep, clear your house, intuitive downloads, passionate feelings. Rioting is also possible. This can be people actually expressing their firm beliefs and their desires to be heard at a very individual level. This is my opinion, it's Mars. So yes, the aggression is there. People have asked, could there potentially be a ceasefire? At this point with the astrology, I would say no. Because we're going to have a Mercury retrograde, we're going to have an eclipse in Aries, we're having a eclipse in Libra from the South Node, which is grievances from the past, alliances, finances, food, agriculture. Definitely going to see fires. Certain countries are going to have, subjects coming up, which I did start the blog post, but I haven't had 5 to do it because I'm working 2 jobs. Where did I reference that the eclipse path would be hitting? Okay, locations. Brazil, United States, and Mexico. And we're already saying subjects to do with that. Oh, where else did I say? That's the first one, though. Where did I say? Okay. The area I see as it will hit, but not limited to, Greenland, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, United States, Canada, Iceland, UK. The following can be impacted prior. Keep an eye for the surrounding energies. Sydney, New South Wales, Melbourne, Tasmania, potentially, WA potentially, but not completely. The whole of New Zealand, Japan, and Russia. And this is for the eclipse energy. Separately, we will have, with the next eclipse, we will have the Devil Comet coming up, which is correlating with, it could be fire in the sky. And the areas so far that I have, did I mention anywhere else? Yeah, key hot areas, which I think it'll be even further, but Brazil, United States, and Mexico. So that will be next month. And those will be areas you will need to look at. Now, the shadow area of the first eclipse is quite wide. So it's going to significantly affect a majority of locations, because even the further away it gets, and you sort of got color zones, you've got the hot spot, you got the shadow zone, you got the, kind of slight. It doesn't mean it's not going to affect everyone, but where the subject matters and hot matters will come up will be in those red zones. Okay, so the red zones I mentioned can be, as I mentioned, but it can kind of branch out from there. So keep an eye on that. Okay, I will see you soon. If I've got time, we'll come back and we will do the update for your zodiacs.